Unfortunately, it's not clickbait. The title of the video is true. I got laid off from my job of 13 years. Now listen, you don't work for a large company, particularly a tech company, and not expect this to happen. I think it's in everyone's best interest to have a plan B, plan C, plan D, E, F. You need to have plans in place for this kind of thing, and I did. I was kind of expecting it. Just the way the economy is going and seeing it happen so frequently in my own company, I knew that it was like a game of musical chairs. Where will you be when the music stops, when your number is called? So luckily I had saved up like 6 months of expenses, so I had a savings account with all that. I got a severance package, and I keep no debt besides my mortgage. So my severance package will last me 23 months without having to dive into my savings. So that's good, I guess. That does not include book buying, which kind of stinks. And, you know, the thing that stresses me out the most is actually health insurance. Like, that is where I'm feeling the urgency to find something new. But this is all really fresh. This just happened yesterday, and I've been there 13 years. Like, that is a good chunk of my life. I'm in shock. I'm going through a lot of emotions with it. And yeah, I don't know. It really sucks. So I thought, to cheer myself up, I could focus on some book stuff, because now I have nothing but time. So I can do some reading and focus on other hobbies I have, like language learning, and, you know, I want to stay active, working out. I have some goals there. So, you know, my days will be busy. It's not a bad thing in that sense. It'll be kind of nice to take a little bit of a break. Kind of scared about the job market right now. Oh gosh, yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, if you know of anything, any remote positions, project managers, business operations, operational excellence, anything like that, doesn't matter where you are, maybe it's remote, and hey, hit me up. But yeah, oh God, I'm bummed. I'm just, like I said, I'm in shock. Let's talk about books though, because as I've mentioned before, I've been slowing down with my BookTube videos. I was doing 2 videos a week for 3 years. And I just kind of got burnt out a little bit. It has been nice to just read leisurely and not, you know, have to meet a deadline of filming a video. And I do miss talking with you guys. I miss the creative outlet. But, you know, our interests kind of ebb and flow. And unfortunately, before I got this news yesterday, I had a trip planned to Costa Rica. And it's all prepaid. Like, I'm going. I'm in a weird headspace to go on vacation right now, but I'm going. So lately my hobby has been studying Spanish, and I've been like hyper focused on that. So unfortunately I'm focused on nothing right now, but in the past couple months it has really been focusing on language learning. So now going forward, I want to balance everything out with this extra time I have and really leverage it. So let's talk about my May TBR and the things that I want to read this month. I think that's a great, easy way to talk about books for the brain capacity I have right now. And then I do have a question for you guys at the end for what I'm looking for in my reads and what recommendations you have for me, because I really need the help of the community right now to help me through this, right? Like, books and reading, I think, are a great way to deal with this kind of stuff. Makes you realize you're not alone and gives you hope and all this stuff. So I'll be asking for recommendations at the end, tell you guys my mood and kind of what I want. But let's start. So The Change by Kirsten Miller. I actually already read this in May, and this is a great example of what hits the mood that I'm in. And this was before I got axed. This is about 3 women that are postmenopausal. So they're a little bit more seasoned in life, but they're still very powerful. And even though they're not always taken seriously because they're women, and they're past their like sexual prime and their childbearing years, they're still very powerful. And they are sticking up for those less fortunate, those that don't have a voice anymore. And I really like this. There's one character named Harriet who was a marketing big shot, some executive, and she wasn't taken seriously by the men in the business. And so she just said, forget about all of you. I'm gonna go do my own thing. She goes to be like a hippie in the woods. She's naked all the time. And that's the kind of energy I need, right? Forget corporate America. I'm just gonna go grow plants and get revenge on men. Yeah, that worked for me. The next book on my May TBR I have also already finished. It is called Welcome to the Hanamdam Bookshop. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I will paste the cover here for you. And I picked this up because it was cozy. It was kind of like everyday life, and it was about a bookshop owner, so the love of books. I love reading books about books. And it was all those things, but it was a little bit too cozy for me, and then it was all vibes, not so much plot, and I needed a little bit more plot to keep me engaged. So I didn't love it all that much, but I mean, technically it was on the May TBR. Now for May TBR books that I have not read, so not cheating anymore. I really want to read The Dark Half by Stephen King. I was planning this as a buddy read with one of my coworker buddies. So hey, Andy, even though I'm not your coworker anymore, still hope this buddy read is on. We were planning on reading this later in May after we both got back from our respective travels. So this is on the list, and I think a horror book could really be kind of fun right now. I don't really know too much about the plot of this, but I kind of want to go into it blind. I want to work my way through some of the Stephen Kings, and this looked like a good time. I was thinking that some contemporary romance could be really fun, and I do want to make my way through some in-progress series that I have. So I am picking up Twisted Hate, which is book 3 in the Twisted series. Like I said, contemporary romance. This is on Kindle Unlimited as well. And this is actually one that I want to read in Costa Rica on my trip. I was trying to find some like themed Costa Rica books and I couldn't find any. So I picked this one because I can work my way through. And what I like is I have it physically, I have it on my Kindle, and I have it on audio, which is perfect for traveling because depending on what I'm doing, I like to mix it up, right? Like on the plane, I might like the Kindle, or I might like the audiobook while I'm on the plane, and then the Kindle for like when I'm trying to go to sleep at night, or the beach, right? It's great for sunlight. So I have different formats, and that's kind of why I picked this one now, is just because there's different formats and I can make my way through the series. Even though I've been reading less books than my standard rate of reading, I have been 100% compliant with some of my reading goals. One of those reading goals is to reread a book every month, because I feel so much pressure to read all the unread books that I have, because you're never going to read them all in your whole lifetime, and that's very daunting to me. But I want to go back and revisit some books that I think have value in a reread. And one of those that I identified that I want to get to in May is The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle. This is a mystery that was very unique, kind of had a sci-fi element to it, because our main character relives the same day over and over again, which is a trope that I love. But he wakes up in the body of someone different every day. And they're at this isolated estate, which again is another one of my favorite settings. This really has all of like my buzzwords or buzz tropes. And so he wakes up in a different guest of this party at this estate, and he's going to continue to wake up in the body of someone else until he solves the crime that happens at the end of this day. And so each day you get like a different perspective and different clues. And I want to go back into this knowing who the culprit is. I think that could be really interesting. And this was there was a lot going on with it, as there typically are with mysteries. So I think generally that's a genre that has value in a reread. So I would love to get to this month. The second goal that I had for reading this year was to read one nonfiction a month. And that is also something I have been 100% successful with up to this point. The May pick that I have is Stoned: Jewelry, Obsession, and How Desire Shapes the World. This seemed so fascinating, particularly because in one of my last videos, I was telling you guys about this new edition. So I think that kind of fits with the theme. And then if you've been around this channel for a while, you know that I've had this sapphire ring for a long time, and I was so bummed because in one of my reading vlogs, I lost one of the stones. And that was like last summer. I think it was like last July. I just got it repaired, so I got this back. So I have like precious stones on my mind, which is so stupid, right? Like, I'm unemployed right now. Why am I thinking of like sapphires and diamonds and emeralds? Why? What am I doing to myself? I don't know. This seemed like an interesting one and very different for me. I want to go back to what I was saying about some of my other hobbies, like language learning, primarily Spanish. And one of my motivators of learning Spanish is I cannot wait until I can read books in Spanish and listen to audiobooks. Like combining my hobbies and my passions like that, it just sounds amazing. So I figured, why not start now? So I picked up James and the Giant Peach, or James y el Melocotón Gigante. You can tell I don't even know how to pronounce Melocotón. But James and the Giant Peach by Roald Dahl. I thought this would be a great Spanish book to start with because I'm familiar with the movie and I have this edition. And then what I'm doing is I checked out the audiobook through Libby. So I'm listening to the Spanish while reading the words, right? So I'll read a chapter like that. And then I have no idea what's going on because there's some quirky vocabulary in here. It is very quirky and I'm having a hard time. Like I looked it up and this is at a level I should be able to understand, but it's just not working for me. Like I can listen to hours and hours of podcasts, like slow spoken Spanish podcasts, but I don't know what Mr. Dahl is saying here. So I will listen and read a chapter, and then I found the English version on YouTube. So I will listen to the same chapter in English, and then I'll come back and I'll listen and read it to it again in Spanish. So I'm reading every chapter 3 times. So this 3-hour audiobook is definitely gonna take me like 9 hours if I don't pick up the pace, but that's okay. I'm not trying to read it as fast as possible. And I'm not trying to understand every single word either. I'm trying to like understand the context of what's going on. So honestly, reading at my level probably isn't the best idea right now because I still get distracted because I want to know what every word is. And sometimes I have to remind myself just stay focused on the context, but I'm impatient and I want to read now. So that is on my May TBR. And then same thing with my next pick, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have the Spanish audiobook for this one. I think I had to get it through Audible again. But then on Libby, I have the English version audiobook. So I'll do the same thing where I listen and read the chapter in Spanish and then get my translation to English and then try it again. I think it's working really well. I'm kind of happy with this progress so far. So I'm gonna try that again with this one. And then for the plane ride to Costa Rica, I found on Libby the Spanish novelization of Coco, the Disney movie. And it's like 3 hours long, so it'll be perfect for the flight. I'll probably slow it down just a touch, so it might take me a little bit longer. But I love this movie and I looked it up, the level should be appropriate. I listened to a sample, it seemed appropriate. So I think this could be a really good audiobook for the flight, even though I don't have the words in front of me. So I'll give it a try. I may not finish it, but it's on the TBR, so I'll mention it here. That was the TBR that I designed before I found out I would have all this free time going forward. So I might be able to squeeze in more books. I don't know, because I'm still really focusing on Spanish learning. I have my trip, and then I was also planning on when I got back from the trip, starting with French and just listening to like an hour a day of some like comprehensible input. So language is still like kind of my hot hobby right now. But in case I want to disconnect from reality and read, I got this beauty. I bought this from Pango. It came in before I got the news because $30 for a book, $37 with shipping and taxes and all that. $37 for a book is more than I typically like to spend. But ever since Johanna mentioned on her BookTube channel, Johanna Reads, that this is one of her favorite all-time books, I've had an alert on Pango to see it available and pick it up because this bind-up edition of all the books in one, it's not in print anymore, so I need to buy it used. So when I got the alert that this was available, and I saw it was $30, which isn't like, it's not price gouging, right? Like it's fine. That's like the cost of a new hardcover at Barnes & Noble. I'm just kind of cheap, which is working in my favor right now that I don't have a paycheck anymore. But this has been calling to me for, gosh, when did you do those videos, Johanna? It's been like a year and a half, 2 years maybe. This has been on my radar. So now that I have it and it's so beautiful and I have spare time, like I might pick this up starting in May, but no guarantees, we'll see. I also want to pop in a clip right here of the books that I own that are on my physical TBR. If there's anything on this shelf that you think I should read right away, either because it's really good or because it pairs with the mood that I'm in and what I'm looking for, what I need to escape from, please drop it in the comments down below because I will try and prioritize that as soon as I can. I also have Kindle Unlimited and an awesome library nearby and Libby, so if there's other things that jump to mind, then please, please, please tell me because I would love to escape in a book right now. What I'm looking for is something, it doesn't have to be specific to my situation, right? Like a character in a book gets laid off, like that may or may not happen, but it could be, right? Like think starting over, running away to start over. One book that comes to mind that's like that is All Roads Lead Here by Mariana Zapata. That's a contemporary romance where she leaves her whole life behind to start over in a small town. Kind of Hallmark vibes, right? So that could be a great option. Or even like I mentioned, The Change was a great option because it was about, you know, a woman who, you know, one of the characters just said, screw it, I'm just gonna go do my own thing and you guys are missing out because I'm awesome. That's a vibe. The Neapolitan series, it's a 4-book series, it's a historical fiction, and it's set in like a small town in Italy, I believe, and there's like all these locally owned businesses. And so there's a lot of conversations about running a business, owning a business. That could be really interesting because one thing I might consider is I could go back to corporate America or I could buy a business. That's something I've been looking into in the past year. Now might be the time. So anything about business ownership would be good. Anything criticizing corporate America. Another book that comes to mind is Ripe. I just reread that book. That was foreshadowing, wasn't it? But that is about the frustrations and the dark side and being depressed about the pressures of corporate America. That could be a really good pick. I mean, there's so many different angles, but anything that would be like that would be good. Things that I do not want to read right now, and I was feeling this way before, and that's kind of why BookTube went to the side and my reading pace slowed, is I was reading a lot of fantasy, and there's a common element of fantasy where there's like an oppression of people. There's a corrupt government. And while the whole like banding together as a people and like overthrowing the government would be so satisfying right now, it's like the trauma from A to B, like how we get there that I can't handle right now because of everything that's going on in the world. I can't escape it. It's on social media, it's on the news, it's on YouTube, it's everywhere. I don't want politics right now. And look, I love politics in books, like really witty politics, something I enjoy, but just right now, it's too much. And then when you lay on like my personal circumstances, I need an escape from that. Like I do not want to read about this like overarching power that controls our lives and makes us feel powerless. So whether that's like a company or the government, you know, and how like the little guy gets squashed, I don't really want to read that right now. So like, if you have a recommendation, if that's in there, that's fine. As long as it's short, like it's not the focus. I don't want to read a 4-book series where like 3.5 of the books are just like corruption and torment and, you know, like the extermination of a group of people and racism. Like I don't want to read that. I don't want to go through like 3.5 books just to get a mildly satisfying ending. It has to be this. The satisfaction has to make all the torture worth it, right? And I'm just extra sensitive to it right now. So that's what I don't want. So if you have recommendations for me, if anything comes to mind, please, please, please drop it in the comments down below because I'm really hoping for some escape, some clarity, some motivation, some support, I guess. And I mean, hey, if you're watching the video to this point, you are already supporting me because maybe I'll get like 20 bucks in AdSense. I could buy a carton of eggs. I laugh because it's just so crazy. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what to do. But it's okay. It's okay. We've got books to help us through it. Thank you so much for hanging out with me in this video. Thanks for putting up with my quite different, for me, energy. And I hope you're doing well. Hope you're reading great books, all 5 stars. I'll see you in the next video. Take care.